Court of Wisconsin. My name is Bruce Beilfus. I was born in the village of Withee on January 8, 1915. My parents were Walter Beilfus and Elsie Doty Beilfus. My father ran a small general store in Withee, and my mother was a teacher in the public schools at the time they were married. I had one brother, Wayne, who passed away as the result of an auto accident many years ago. I also have a twin sister who lives in the Chicago area. In school, I remember Margaret Crowley as an exceptional 8th grade teacher. I went through kindergarten and 8 grades in school at Withee. At the time I was about 12 and a half years old, our family moved to Neillsville, Wisconsin. I finished high school in Neillsville and went to the University of Wisconsin. I received a Bachelor of Arts degree in 1936 and graduated from the law school in 1938. After law school graduation and admission to the bar, I returned to Clark County. My folks were still living in Neillsville, but I moved to Abbotsford and started to practice law there. I lived in Abbotsford for about 2 years and then was elected District Attorney of Clark County. I served in that capacity for a couple years and then entered the service of the United States in World War II. I served in the Navy for approximately 3 years, most of it being in the South Pacific area. After returning from the Navy, I resumed my duties as District Attorney and continued in that capacity until 1948, when I was elected Circuit Judge of the 17th Judicial Circuit, which at that time consisted of Clark County, Jackson County, and Juneau County. I was Circuit Judge in that circuit for 15 years. In 1964, I had been elected to and assumed my place as a justice on the Wisconsin Supreme Court. As a justice of the Supreme Court is elected in a statewide election, I have twice been elected to that position. In 1976, I became the Chief Justice of the Wisconsin Supreme Court and hold that position as of this day, namely April 16, 1981. In 1941, when I commenced my term as District Attorney of Clark County, the compensation was $2,275. Now, as Chief Justice of the Wisconsin Supreme Court, I receive about $60,000 per year. At the time of entering my duties as a Justice of the Supreme Court, I moved to Madison and have been in that area since that time. I do have definite recollections of my days in Withee. We lived on the northeast side of the village. Our next-door neighbors were the Munsons and the Tufts. They both had sons of my age, Sam Munson and Bill Tufts. I also recall several small towns around Withee, Owen, and of course Thorpe, Greenwood, and Neillsville. I have a definite recollection of some of my early friends, Sam Munson, Bill Tufts, John Jelling, Clinton Alberts, Ambrose Melbringer, Harold Crum, and others. When I was a small boy, the language locally spoken, of course, was English, but there was some Danish, German, Polish, and Finnish. Many of these people were first-generation Americans, and their parents had taught them to speak their native tongue. I also recall a Mr. Peter Lang, who had a milk grout that serviced the village. During the 7th and 8th grades in Withee, before school in the morning, I helped Mr. Lang deliver milk. I also had a newspaper route, and in addition, at least I thought, I helped my father around the store. For recreation, I enjoyed baseball, basketball, wrestling, fishing in the Black River, and music. As a small child, the food we had was really pretty good. There was much baking and cooking done by all of our mothers. In the winter and the spring, we had very few fresh vegetables and fruit. but there were a lot of fruits and vegetables canned. Illness in those days was much more prevalent than it now is. There were such common diseases as measles, mumps, smallpox, polio, scarlet fever, pneumonia, and others. Our parents, particularly my mother, watched us very closely, and she did have the assistance of a good doctor, a Dr. Jensen, who lived and practiced in Withee at that time. My grade school education in Withee I thought was quite good. We had excellent teachers and probably not all the frills that students have today, but overall I thought our education in the grade school in Withee was very good. As a youngster, I had a desire to be either a lawyer or a doctor. A relative of mine, Judge Shanegarth, the father of the president, Judge Shanegarth, was the one who tipped the scales in favor of law school. I have not regretted that I went to law school. The people throughout Clark County, Withee, the state of Wisconsin, have been very good to me throughout the years. Some of the issues of the times that I can recall was whether to have concrete or gravel roads. I recall as a youngster that all the roads in the village of Withee were gravel, as were practically all the roads in the county. My recollection is that the first concrete highway in Clark County was a mile east of Thorpe and what now is Highway 29. Farming and agriculture were, of course, great concerns to us. In those days, there were few, if any, tractors. Most of the work was done with horses. Farms were smaller and the work was very difficult, but the people survived. Other incidents that I recall is the stock market crash of 1929, Lindbergh flying the Atlantic, the St. Valentine's Day massacre in Chicago. I am proud to have been born and raised in the village of Withee. I have fond recollections of Withee and my friends there, and although I am not able to return there as often as I would like, I do get there occasionally. My paternal grandparents are buried in the cemetery west of Neilsville. With this, I wish to convey to you my thought that you all have the very, very best. Thank you.